What is up, guys? Welcome back to Cozy Talks. This is our Tuesday episode where we go over our breakdowns and picks, talk about the card at hand. This week is Brandon Royval versus Manel Kape. It's our last card of the year, last UFC card for ESPN, probably for the foreseeable future. Paramount's taken over start of January, so we get a 6-week hiatus. So we're gonna be without UFC. We're gonna have to watch some other shit like football, baseball or not baseball, basketball, hockey, whatever, anything else other than UFC. If you're into any of the regional stuff, there's big stuff coming up. There's also, PFL. I think is this weekend as well. I think I didn't look too heavy into the schedule to be honest with you, but before we get into the video, guys, if you haven't already, it would really mean a lot if you guys would like, comment, subscribe. Let us know how you're feeling about this card, how you felt about last card. I just recorded our recap. I'm gonna get that out to you guys right before this video. I appreciate it a lot. If you guys would help the channel grow, get this channel out there. We're one of the newer channels. We just started up, a couple months ago, and we just want to be able to keep this content consistent and make sure you guys are getting the best information out there. And we're gonna make sure that going forward that we work to make sure that you guys are getting a lot of current information. And we're gonna talk about at the end of this video what ideas we kind of brainstormed when we were together this weekend for the pay-per-view. But with that being said, let's get into this card and talk about it, huh? Let's see. So starting off the card, we get the ladies going at it. We get Teresa Bleda versus Jamie Lynn Horth. This is going to be Bleda's first match back in like a 2.5-year layoff, whatever it was going on. I don't know if it was an injury or what, but she gets a Jamie Lynn Horth. Jamie Lynn Horth is one of the bigger girls for this division, so it's kind of an interesting matchup here, size-wise. But my pick here is Bleda. She's 7-1, but she has a pretty good win over a girl like Gabriela Fernandez her last time out. And whatever her reason is for her being out for the last 2.5 years, I'm sure it might have just been an injury of some sort, or maybe she just wanted to take a break. But she's only 24 years old. She is the young dog in this one. She's going against a 35-year-old Jamie Lynn Horth. And Jamie Lynn Horth, don't get me wrong, she's not bad, but she's not great. Teresa's just younger, and I think she has more to prove in this game. A win over Fernandez 2.5 years ago. She was 8-2 at the time. It's a big win, in my opinion. I think Teresa will bring a lot to this one. As far as where I think this fight goes, it's probably gonna be a decision, but I think the submission is also very alive. I think that's what I'm gonna call here. Jamie Lynn Horth grappling hasn't looked too phenomenal, but she does have her own style. But she does play out to the scorecards a bit more often. So I think Teresa can pull this off either by sub. She is going to be the bigger fighter than Jamie Lynn Horth. And, I did mention that Jamie Lynn Horth already was big for the division, but Teresa is bigger. This is taking place at flyweight. Yeah. So it's kind of a surprising one. I'm kind of interested to see, how these girls make weight. Not sure how Teresa's going to look, but, I'm interested to see how she performs. It's been 2.5 years since we last seen her. So we'll see where this goes. Moving on, we get the heavyweights. Both these guys are making their debut, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, this guy's coming from LFA. I think we saw him on Dana White Contender Series. No, what did it say on here? Why does he look familiar? Oh no, he was supposed to. That's right, but that guy canceled that shit. Okay, no, that's why. My pick is gonna be Guilherme Pat against Alan Frye. I think Guilherme can pull this off. I think he'll find the finish. It's heavyweights. Both these guys are undefeated. Both these guys are strikers. Most of their wins are by knockout. Guilherme Pat, he's 5-0 or 6-0. 5-0. Wherever that one came from, 4-0. Now he's 5-0 from somewhere in here. Anyway, but yeah, I think he gets it done by knockout. Alan Frye, same shit. He's a striker. All 6 of his wins are by knockout. But I think the problem here is he's going to be the undersized guy. 80.5-inch reach is huge. Even at heavyweight, that's a very long striking range. 6'5", he's one of the taller guys. Alan Frye is 6'4". Both of you guys are on the lighter side for heavyweights, though. So I'm interested to see how this plays out. Might be a quick one. I'm calling a Guilherme Pat round 1 TKO. Next fight, we get a couple of crazy good gals here. I enjoy watching both these girls fight. We saw Melissa Croden fight in Vancouver, and we get Luana Santos, who is not too bad herself. As you can tell, it's going to be a big fight early in Melissa Croden's career. You know, she's coming off the debut fight against Tainara Lisboa, beat the shit out of her. Her Muay Thai is phenomenal. And she gets to Luana Santos, who is off of a win herself over Tainara Lisboa. So kind of a funny one here. Both of them kind of beat Tainara Lisboa, and now they're here to meet for this one. Melissa Croden, kind of a bit of short turnaround because we saw her fight in, what was that? That was October. Now we're in December, and this is about to be another fight here. So what, about a 2-month turnaround here. So this is interesting for Croden. You know, she's the prospect to watch. I feel for the ladies. I think they're trying to fast track her because of her age. She kind of debuted late in her career, and she gets a young Luana Santos. Man, it's kind of a tough pick. I do enjoy the striking Melissa Croden, but Luana Santos does kind of have her own way about it. She is a bit of a grappler. So we're gonna kind of a clash of styles here. The short turnaround for Croden is kind of why I wanna stay away from her, but I just love women that strike, man. It's exciting to watch, because you don't see it often when these girls want to be savages. I think for that reason, I think I'm gonna take the shot on the dog here. I think I'm gonna go on Melissa Croden. I enjoy the striking. I enjoy her Muay Thai. And it's not to say much. I mean, Luana Santos beat Lisboa, beat her by sub. She's off the loss of Casey O'Neill, which to me doesn't feel like a great loss. But yeah, like I said, I just enjoy watching Melissa Croden. Watching her in person, maybe I'm a little more biased, but anyway, moving on. We get more of the heavyweights going at it. We get a lot of these heavyweights coming at it, man. We're gonna see some bangers, hopefully. We get Sean Sharaf versus Steven Asplund. Steven Asplund making his debut here after coming off of the Contender Series. Beat Anthony Guarascio and Sean Sharaf. I think he's also coming off of Contender Series. No, he's not. But he's coming off of a loss to Junior Tafa. So instantly, I'm fading him. You don't lose to a Tafa and then think I'm going to pick you. So Steven Asplund is my pick here. He's got a bit of a great story behind him. He was a super heavy guy. If you see him on the card, he's got some really saggy skin, and that's because he lost a lot of weight, and now he's just an absolute savage. He's 261. He's 4 pounds even under the 265. He's just a dog, man. And you got to root for stories like this. It's guys like Krillo Roundtree that were bigger guys, and they fought their way back, and they got in shape, and now they just want to be savages. Steven Asplund, he got the knockout win last time out, and he got it very fast in that fight. I think he was the dog in that fight, if I remember right. I could be wrong, but he's not the dog here. He's a pretty heavy favorite. And for that reason, I think Steven Asplund gets the finish here. I think he finds the knockout either late in the first or early in the second. Next fight. This is a kind of a crazy matchup. Yaroslav is making his debut here in the UFC. He's coming off of a win by submission against Curtis Millender and CFFC. Not a super great regional scene, if I could recall. But he gets Neil Magny, who is coming off of a win over Jake Matthews. And it's kind of crazy that he even got that win. He should have lost that fight. So really, this should be an L. And that's me being a little biased because that was my last leg on this parlay I had that I gave out on the show. But you're getting Yaroslav, who is 32 years old, has gray hair, but he's also 28-1, and his loss was what, 2 years ago in Bellator, and he's off of a win now 8 months ago, and he's an absolute freak on the mat. He's got crazy submissions. I mean, look at this: 11 wins, 9 wins by TKO, 8 wins by decision. He's a very well-rounded fighter, and I think he can present a lot of problems to Neil Magny. I think he's going to submit Neil Magny. Neil Magny's going to want to try and stay long here and strike with him. I mean, he found the submission over Jake Matthews, but Jake Matthews also kind of gave him that. He kind of fell deeper into the Dars, which is kind of ridiculous. But 28-1, I mean, the record speaks for itself, man. I think this guy is going to come in and just be a problem. He's obviously going to have the shorter reach. Neil Magny's got some super long reach for this welterweight division, and he's also got the height disadvantage here. So I think the way he's going to fight this is, she's going to try and strike to stay in and strike to get his takedowns and, be dominant on the ground. I think he's gonna either ride out the control time and try and ride out no Magny here, or he's gonna lock up one of those arms with an arm bar or a head and arm. So yeah, give me Amosov to win this one. Next fight, I think I saw this fight got canceled already today, but we'll go over it just in case that's not true. So we get Brito versus Melsik Baghdasaryan. Brito, last time we saw him out, he got his ass beat by Pat Sabatini. And he was a heavy favorite in that one, if I recall. And now we get him against Melsik Baghdasaryan, who we saw fight Gene Silva last time out in Seattle. That was in February. So, that was gonna be an interesting fight. Gene Silva's a striker, Melzik's a striker. He got smoked quick by Gene Silva, but Gene Silva was also on a freakish run. You get the Joannis Brito, who is kind of a fast starter, but then he dies out later in these fights. I don't know how I feel about this one, man. Minus 200 favorite against Melsik. I mean, what? Who's Melsik lost to? He lost to Kulabau. Okay. Lost to Gene Silva. Not a bad loss at all. But he beat Bruno Souza, beat Colin, beat Tucker Lutz. You lost to you beat Jack Shore. You lost to Gomi. You lost to Sabatini. I mean, yeah, as far as competition goes, this is on the side of Joe Anderson Brito. And I think Pat Sabatini really is a problem. I don't know. Yeah, I think I'm gonna take Joe Anderson Brito in this one. I think this one feels like it speaks for itself as far as just level of competition. Only crazy guy you really fought was Gene Silva, and you fought almost a year ago. 17 fought almost a year ago. I feel like where your careers line up right now, Brito needs this win to bounce back. You're off of a two loss streak right now, and then Melsik's off of one, but it's a Gene Silva. And I felt like he never really were in that fight. I think Brito's gonna come out pissed off. He was a heavy favorite against Pat Sabatini, and you got bitched. You got absolutely smoked on the ground, and you were stuck pig for 3 rounds there. I think Brito needs to bounce back here. I think he's gonna work the striking, and he himself might find the KO here early in this fight. So give me Joe Anderson Brito in this one. Next, we get the ladies going at it. This is a short notice fight for Amanda Lemos. Jillian Robertson was originally supposed to fight Yasmin Lucindo. Now she gets even better competition, I think, against Amanda Lemos. This is gonna be a great fight for Jillian Robertson, because if there's any way she can win this, it is by her, how she's always done it, by her ground game. Lemos, she's had a back and forth career lately for the last 2 years, off a loss of Zhang Wei Li, off a loss of Verna Jandradoba, who just fought for the title, used to have the title, fought for the title. I mean, she's beaten stiff competition. She's fighting. Jillian Robertson's fighting Amanda Lemos, who just beat the girl that Jillian was supposed to fight. So now you kind of get the better of the two, right? This is the one that's gonna really get you into that title conversation, because Amanda Lemos has always kind of hung around the title here, the strawweight division. Jillian Robertson on a 4-fight win streak, beat Poliana Viana, who is no longer in the UFC. I think she's only on OnlyFans. Beat Michelle Waterson Gomez, no longer in the UFC. She's one of the desk talent for UFC. Beat Luana Pinheiro. I think she's still in the UFC. And she beat Marina Rodriguez. All these wins are good solid wins. They're gonna get you up where you need to be in the rankings. As far as the talent goes, it's solid for the last two, Marina Rodriguez and Luana Pinheiro. And Jillian's just a dog. She competes outside of the UFC. I don't know if Burker's gonna show up, but she does do grappling matches. Let's see. Yeah, it shows one of them here. I think she's had a few more recently. And somewhere in this range, but it's only going to show us that one. But yeah, I like Jillian a lot in this one. I think she can get this done on the ground. Probably get a decision win. If not, she might shock everyone and pull off a sub win. Only girls like Verna can sub her, but Tatiana Suarez, she's just like an all-American wrestler. She probably could have got the submission win there. She was the bigger girl than Lemos. And that's kind of the recipe to beating Lemos, yeah, is either riding out the wrestling time or getting the sub win. I think Robertson's got both those in her arsenal. She could really ride this out and be top heavy, or she can find the sub. It's just, she's just got to get Lemos there, and if she does, I think she wins this one pretty clear. Lemos might win one round probably early on in this one. She might try to gauge it out, win the first, but I think Robertson pulls this one off. Next fight. This is on the main card. Wow. We had Kenny and Nzechukwu off of a loss to Walter Walker against Marcus Buchecha, who had a dud of a debut against Marvin Boudet, who is no longer in the UFC. Funny enough, after this fight, Martin Boudet got cut, even though Martin Boudet won. But I think UFC is just trying to cut the fat. No pun intended for this heavyweight division. They're trying to cut the fat on some of these guys that are less entertaining and less marketable for them, and they really stink up the division. Kind of a weird one here. We get Kenny Nzechukwu, who lost by heel hook against Marcus Buchecha, who is a phenomenal BJJ guy. I think this one kind of spells itself out here. I really kind of want to take the plus money here. For these guys that come from like one and all these bigger divisions, if they're gonna lose in their debut, why would I fade them again after they had their debut? When they got signed to the UFC for a reason. Marcus Buchecha has the reputation of being a savage in jiu-jitsu. And Nzechukwu, he just has a long range. He's got some great striking. This was him on his debut at the heavyweight. He was fighting down at light heavyweight before he decided to jump up, beat a Barnett who was no longer in the UFC. He just had a win in karate combat, and it was a short notice win. And he beats Adreski, who isn't even in the UFC anymore, has a shit record. And then he loses to Walter Walker, who is gonna be a problem here in the next year or two for the heavyweight division. I think Buchecha pulls this one off. I think Buchecha can find the sub here. He's the stronger guy here. He's pretty thick. But yeah, wow. They really think Nzechukwu gonna get the knockout. I don't know. I think if we get the Buchecha that fought Martin Boudet, then yeah, I think Nzechukwu can really put his lights out. But if we get the Buchecha that we see competing in grappling competition, I think he's gonna smoke Kennedy and get him down. I think he's gonna be a problem. So we'll see where this plays out. This is an interesting one. It's definitely a battle of styles. Both these guys need to win badly. You can't go 0-2 after UFC signs you, especially when you're coming from one and you're making some noise over there. Kennedy, like I said, he's 2-1 in the heavyweight division. So it's kind of a toss up here. But I feel like the money should be in on Buchecha later this week, and we'll see where we end up there. Next fight. This is gonna be a fun one. We get Morgan Charriere versus Mel Costa. Charriere, he's off of a win against Nate Landwehr, and it was a savage Nate Landwehr, a guy who came out striking, but unfortunately he got outstruck. But he's also off of a loss to Nate Wood. We get Mel Costa on the fourth fight. We saw him fighting in Seattle here, where he got the guillotine win. He's also got the win over Nerdambike. He also got the win over C-Rod, and he got the win over Juliana Rosa. And these are all pretty stiff competition. You got C-Rod, pretty good wrestler. You got Juliana Rosa, a guy that has a lot of submission wins on his belt. You got a guy, Andre Fili, who was a savage when he was younger, and he got the finish, and it was a pretty shocking finish too. Z had money on Andre Fili, and it was the only loss for him on this one. It's kind of a shocking loss in my opinion. And he also had the win over Nerdambike. So it's kind of funny. They have this both guys minus money. I'm not sure who actually is the underdog here. My guess is Melk's the underdog. Because I think he still seems a little unproven, but I think he really is pretty good. And he's my pick here. Morgan Charriere is a bit of a problem. He's got great striking, but he keeps getting matched with some weird ones. When he loses, he's losing to guys that can either anti-wrestle or wrestle, or they just outstrike him. And Mel Costa has great kicks. He knows how to manage range well, and he has a great submission arsenal. Well, I think he gets the finish here. I don't know. This might be a decision win for Mel Costa. If not, he could pull off a sub if Charriere wants to try and shoot takedowns, which I don't think he's gonna. I'd be pretty surprised if he tries to get Mel Costa to the ground and gets control time here. I think he's just gonna try and outstrike him and trying to get the knockout here. But yeah, give me Mel Costa here. I like him a lot. Next fight, we get Cesar Almeida versus the debuting Cezary Oleksiejczuk, who is Mikhail Oleksiejczuk's brother, and Cesary fought on the Contender Series. Got the quick KO win, and we get a Cesar Almeida, who is coming off of off of a couple wins. Is this the Caesar that I'm thinking of? It is yeah, too. Okay. Well, that makes it easy. I'm taking Caesar in this one. I'm not a big fan of Caesar Almeida. I think his wins have been pretty meh. Going to a decision with Potera, kind of a crazy one there. And then you beat Abdul Razak Al-Hassan. Not a crazy one either. He hasn't really impressed me the way that he should. I thought he was going to come in and be better, especially for having a 7-1 record. He lost to Kopilov, which is not a horrible loss, but he did lose nonetheless. And his 5 solid just doesn't entertain me whatsoever. Oleksiejczuk, though, he does present a lot of problems. He is a savage, a lot like his brother. He's a heavy striker, but he also does have submission wins. He knows how to get the job done. He came in, he got it done on the Contender Series. I think he can come in and get this one done here. He's gonna be the bigger fighter. I think this one's pretty cut and clear. I think Oleksiejczuk is gonna get the win here. Will it be by knockout? I don't know. I think when the Friday show comes around, we'll look at it. Because Almeida is a bit of a kickboxer and he can manage range well himself. But Oleksiejczuk does have the power in his hands, and like I said, he's gonna be the bigger fighter. So I think Almeida is gonna be the one to have to come forward. So we'll see what happens. I think Oleksiejczuk is live for the finish, but I think this might go decision as well. But I'm definitely rooting for the finish because I want to see this guy make some jumps in the rankings here in the middleweight division. All right, we get to the co-main. We get a ranked fight here. We get Giga Chikadze versus Kevin Vallejos. This is a Kevin Vallejos who has just seemed unstoppable as of late. His only loss is to Gene Silva, and that was back on the Contender Series. He got signed off of a loss because of how great of a fight it was. He gets the Giga Chikadze, who has been kind of stuck here at the top 15. He can't go up, and he's beating the guys when he's supposed to go down. Beat Edson Barbosa almost 4.5 years ago. Lost to a Calvin Cater, who has been pretty stuck in the division as well. I don't know exactly where he's ranked, if he even is. Beat Alex Sakaris. He lost to Arnold Allen, and he lost to David Onama last time out. I think Kevin Vallejos is live to get the decision win here. Giga Chikadze, he has like fast kicks. He has okay hands. But Kevin Vallejos has a very postured up boxing style, and he has great finishing power, man. I think he is going to come forward and bring a lot of problems to Chikadze here. And he's obviously he's bloodthirsty ever since his loss to Gene Silva. Every time he's on Twitter, he's always mentioning that he wants to fight Gene Silva next. And I think the timeline's kind of lining up for that, man. I think if Kevin Vallejos wins, I think we could be getting a rematch. Maybe not right away. Maybe if Kevin wins one more after this one, I think we're gonna be right there, man. I think we're gonna be seeing Kevin versus Gene Silva too. Fight of the century. But anyway, it's gonna be a great fight here. I think Kevin gets this done. Kevin probably will win by decision, if I had to take a guess. But he is, for a featherweight, he has a lot of power in his hands. It's kind of death by volume, death by overhands. He's got great striking. I mean, you can't take anything away from it. Giga, on the other hand, I mean, he's just, like I said, he's just been stuck. He's kind of been where he is, and he's not getting any better. So why not let the young blood in, and let's get this division moving, man. You're 37. Get you out of the rankings. It's surprising you're still even ranked, to be honest. But yeah, I think Kevin gets this done. Now for the main event, guys. Before we get into it, though, if you haven't already, before we finish this breakdown, if you haven't already, let's run the numbers up on this. Let's drop some likes. Let's talk about this card a bit. If you haven't, who do you think is going to win here? Let's talk about this one. We'll get a poll going. Main event: Brandon Royval versus Manel Kape. Brandon Royval, he's off of his loss to Joshua Van. Now the new, we talked about that in the last video in the recap. So if you haven't already, go and watch that one. Versus Manel Kape, Mr. Pulled out anytime a fight gets close. I'm not a big fan of Manel Kape, man. He had that fight with Mamlo Kaev where he they were shit talking each other all week, and they go out and they just throw a shit ass fight, and it's just the lamest thing to watch when there's supposed to be bad blood and then you're just doing nothing. But he has a win over Bruno Silva, and he has a win over Asu Omabayev. This win was short notice. This win was, against Bruno Silva, who we thought was washed, but Bruno Silva just got a big win over Park last time out in Vancouver. And Brandon Royval, he's always looking great, even in his losses. He has that loss to Joshua Van and what could have been fight of the year. It could be. I don't know. That was a 5-round war. He gets dropped late in that 5th, and that basically just sealed the deal that Van won. He beat a Tatsutara on a split. That he was the first one to give Tatsutara a loss when Tatsutara looked like a demon, and Tatsutara is about to fight for the title next. So Brandon Royval is fighting all these guys that are top talent. He has a win over Brandon Moreno, and I think that was for Royval to win the title, or not win the title, but it was after the title loss. Because obviously lost to Pantoja, and then he beat Moreno last time out. So my pick in this one, I think this might just be a bias pick just because I don't like Manel Kape. I know Manel Kape has great striking, and I know he's a heavy striker. We'll see if he even makes it to the fucking scales, man. But my pick's Brandon Royval. I'm a big fan of the guy. I think he's fighting all these guys that are super high level competition. Manel Kape's kind of been fighting down against the shittier competition. His loss is, against Muhammad Mokaev, who I think needs to come back to the UFC. And, I think Dana White needs to wipe the slate clean with this guy because Muhammad Mokaev is a problem. And I think he himself could be a future title holder in this division if he lets him back. But, at plus money and on a guy that I'm a big fan of, a guy that, has wrestling, has striking, and is just the funner guy in my opinion. I don't really care to watch Manel Kape. Brandon Royval, Mr. Raw Dog, is the guy I want to watch. And I hope he, he goes into 2026 with a dub on his shoulders. I'm a big fan of him, and I hope he gets this one done. How I think he does it, it's probably this might be a decision. This might just be an all-out war, And going into the new year, we might be getting a 5-round slugfest. But we'll see. We'll see what happens there. But that is it for our breakdown of the last card. So what I wanted to talk about going into the new year, we're going in a 6-week hiatus. We're not going to have much content. But Z and I did brainstorm some ideas for you guys. So if you have any suggestions for what you want to see more of, whether you want to see guest spots, if you want to see guest spots, just let us know in the comments what you want to see. If you want guest spots, if you want more videos, if you want more uploads, because we've only been doing the 2, sometimes 3. If we stretch our recap without putting it on our breakdown video. If you want to see just more content on other pages, let us know, because we're kind of spread thin as far as the content goes. It's been a lot of just YouTube, and here and there we're on the Instagram reposting. If you want us to use TikTok more, we can use TikTok more. We really just have it just to kind of keep up with other pages, but we did say that we would be posting some of the clips from the show on there and giving our own vertical content on there. Twitter, I post on there, every once in a while. Twitter's kind of whatever. But we do have our Discord. Our Discord we've been more active with. So if you want to have the bets that we were winning with, because last week we did win a parlay that Z and I, funny enough, cooked up the day of the fights. But we did put it in there and we talked about it in there. So if you don't want to miss some of the stuff that we come up with later in the week, if we don't have it on the show, like I said, we're going to put it in there. So, there's always, communication being had. And we appreciate you guys if you give us the feedback that we need and the feedback that we want. Because like I said, we're a younger channel. We're trying to grow and improve. We want to make sure that you guys are well equipped with the information. But we want to be able to know what we need to give you guys. So if you want more stuff, whether, it's another voice on the show for guest spots, if you guys want to hop on, or you want to give a quick pick, we're always open to that. But otherwise, yeah, just let us know what's up. You'll be hearing from us again later this week for our Friday show, where we go over our bets, talk about the live lines for the last card of the year. With that being said, though, that's it from me. Z will be back on the Friday one. He wasn't here today. It is what it is. So with that being said, guys, stay cozy. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.